You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, ChiroThin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, McCaffrey's Clinical Mentoring, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle!
Hey guys, welcome to episode 157 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. I'm your co-host, Luke Millette. Here's your host, Jim Chester.
Hey everybody, so today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Rebecca Rizk, and if you want to learn more about Instagram marketing, stay tuned. So today we have an awesome episode with Rebecca Rizk. This is episode 157 of the Chiro Hustle podcast. Luke and I are coming in today from Grand Junction, Colorado, and you are coming in from where in Texas?
From Arlington, Texas.
Arlington, Texas. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as we always do with the Chiro Hustle podcast, we like to ask the first question, which is tell us your chiropractic story. And a lot of people don't know your story. I don't know your story. So it's going to be really exciting to have our audience hear from a chiropractor that's been out of school. How long now?
2 years now.
Okay, 2 years. So a 2 year out there working in the real world. I think you're going to give some valuable insight to people today. But let's start out by talking about your chiropractic story.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity. It all started, I was first introduced to chiropractic as a little girl, actually. I remember vividly my dad taking us to a chiropractor in Ottawa, Ontario. He dealt with chronic hip pain. So he was an entrepreneur, owned a restaurant, someone that was on his feet 15 hours a day. So he was always in some kind of pain. So I just remember him taking us to, me and my sisters, to a chiropractor. I don't remember if we got treated or not. I don't remember his treatment at all. But that was the first official introduction to chiropractic. As a little girl, I was someone who, for some reason, just didn't enjoy taking medication, antibiotics. I was totally against it, but I didn't know why at the time. I think it's mostly because I just didn't like swallowing pills and I didn't like the taste of antibiotics and things like that. But that really shaped who I became, in a sense that I had a outlook on health that was very holistic. And I just didn't really touch any kind of medication ever, really. So that's pretty much how I was introduced to it. Fast forward years later, I'm in my third year of my undergrad program and I was in kinesiology. I was working at my family restaurant and my exercise physiologist, high school teacher, walks in and I was serving her and she kind of just asked me, where are you at in life? Like, what are you doing? It had been like a few years since I had seen her. And I basically told her I was kind of like in a pickle. I didn't know where I was going to end up or what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to help people. I knew I wanted to help people naturally. I was kind of tossing between physiotherapy, physical therapy, and chiropractic at the time. So I know most chiropractors that go into school, that's pretty much the two professions that they're like, okay, which one do I go into? So she told me, I have one of my really close friends down the road. She's a chiropractor, has been in practice for years now. Just go and shadow her and just see if you like it. So I ended up going, long story short, I shadowed for the day and I literally fell in love with everything that she did. So I kind of just knew from then on that this was going to be something that I wanted to venture into. Applied to chiropractic school. I actually ended up getting waitlisted. So I applied to one chiropractic college, and that was the Canadian Memorial Chiropractic College in Canada, the only Canadian chiropractic college, and that was it. So when I got waitlisted, I was like, oh, Lord, like, what am I going to do if I don't get in? And I know that the school started end of August. I got the call that I got off the wait list and accepted into the program end of July. So packed my things, long story short, packed my things and just took off to Toronto. And that's when I started my career. And I haven't looked back since, and I love it. So yeah, that's my story.
That's really cool. I think that a lot of people are gonna like say, they can relate to that. Who's this doc that you went and shadowed?
Her name is Dr. Nathalie Beauchamp. So she is a chiropractor out of Ottawa, Ontario. So she was my first official chiropractor that I met in person and shadowed.
Actually, crazy story. Natalie was supposed to be in one of our films.
Oh, wow.
Things just didn't line up, but yeah, she was definitely somebody that was on our like list of
She's amazing.
chiropractors to be in our movie.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a small world.
Was
Yeah.
she the one that was moving?
I'm not sure the details, but yeah, it's really cool to hear people's stories and how the small world of chiropractic supports one another.
Definitely.
So now you're practicing. You went to Texas.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like to go from Canada to Texas?
It's quite a change, I have to tell you, but I think it was a change for the good. The one thing that I do miss, of course, is my family. Everyone is in Ottawa. Coming to a place where I didn't really have family, but my husband and his parents and his family live about 4 hours away in San Antonio. So we're in Arlington. But I actually love it. It was scary at first. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends out here, anything like that. Being fresh out of school, coming to a community that you literally have never been a part of was definitely scary, but it's been rewarding for sure.
So would you say that you have any favorite motivational quotes or mantras that keep you fired up every day?
Yeah. So one quote that sticks into my head every time I wake up in the morning, treat patients, is that most people have no idea how good their body was designed to feel. And that's something that I tell myself every day that motivates me to really help people live a better quality of life and just show people that, it's not normal to be in pain. It's not normal to, have a headache every day. So that's definitely something that I live by and that I try and convey to my patients. I do have a lot of patients that come in and actually don't know what normal feels like anymore. They've been in pain for so long, chronic pain for so long, that they're kind of just used to it. So for them, it's kind of like, well, this is my normal. And that's just kind of heartbreaking to me because no one should have to live like that. Everyone should live their best life and thrive and feel good about it. And for most, people watching, they know that pain is something that, just takes over your whole being. It takes over your mental state, your energy, your livelihood, everything. So being able to have the opportunity to get people out of pain and help them live healthier and better quality of life is something that I'm so grateful for.
So with all the different people that you've seen come and go through your office, tell us a miracle story that sticks out in your mind.
Yeah. So I did have, I do treat people who are in their 20s and 30s, so the younger population. I had this one patient who came in. She is, I believe, her early 30s. She had, chronic headaches, numbness in both hands, constant numbness. And I was able to treat her and work with her to be able to kind of reduce some of that. From her going to reducing the frequency of headaches, reducing the intensity of numbness, just being able to wash the dishes, was difficult for her, just to stand there and wash dishes for 15 minutes. And it's funny because one thing, after we were able to treat her and take her through a planned course of treatment, she kind of told me the one thing that she was the most thankful for was that she could actually wash dishes now, which is crazy because it's literally something so simple that, when that's taken away from you, it's huge. So just something so small can impact someone's life so greatly. So that was amazing to see that.
So what do you think, how do you think the world would be different if everyone started seeing a chiropractor consistently?
Yeah, so the world would be very different, I think, in the sense that I think that we would be able to help a lot more people live a better quality of life, We would also be able to decrease the amount of visits that people do and go see their primary doctor for things like back pain and neck pain, for things that, don't necessarily need medication or don't need surgery. So that's another thing, is that we would be able to actually decrease the amount of unnecessary surgeries that are out there, especially in the younger population. A lot of people that I've seen, have had like fusions in their neck at the age of 40. And it's super sad because they're actually in even more pain than they were before the surgery. So it was something that was completely unnecessary that we could help avoid, which would be amazing. We would also be able to help workers decrease their amount of missed days at work, just from, back pain or neck pain and things like that. So that would be awesome. That would help people be more productive, stay at work longer. And then also ultimately decrease the amount of medications and NSAIDs and things like that people are taking. And, just make people healthier at the end of the day.
So it sounds like you have a pretty keen insight into holistic living and knowing that the body is a self-healing organism that needs nothing extra, just no interference, as the chiropractic philosophy goes.
Yeah.
How is it communicating that principle and those ideas to the millennial generation and these people that you said that are in their 20s? And do you think that most of these people are getting bound up the way they are because of tech?
Oh yeah, 100%. So just the world we live in these days, almost everyone has what we call like text neck syndrome. So we're looking on our tablets, laptops, phones, and just young people having chronic pain. And from what I've seen in practice, a lot of younger people have early onset osteoarthritis in their neck, which is insane. They're like in their 20s and, they're already headed down a really bad road. So just being able to shed light on that to people, especially the younger millennials who think that, they're invincible, they heal really quick and things like that. And a big passion of mine is to actually help people realize that you don't necessarily need to go to a chiropractor when you're in pain, but preventative care is something that is going to help you live a long, healthy life. So you don't need to have neck pain. You don't need to have back pain to go in and see a chiropractor. You can actually feel really good and go in and get an adjustment. So that's the amazing part about chiropractic, that I help people try and realize that, dentists, for example, like why do we know, innately we have to brush our teeth every day? We have to go in and get a cleaning every 6 months. That's just something that we know because we know it's good. We know it's healthy. We know that if we don't do that, we're not going to have any teeth. We know that we're going to have a lot of cavities. It's going to be expensive, things like that. So this is how I try and use real life examples that people can relate to, that makes sense to them. And why is it different when it comes to the spine? The spine needs to move properly. It's the same theory. So that's been really helpful. And I think that a lot of people have realized, especially the millennials, like, once you feel good and you're able to actually not have to wait until, okay, I have neck pain, now I'm going to go see someone. Or most people don't, they just live with neck pain and they just go about their day. But once they realize the actual feeling that, wow, like I actually feel good. Like I feel like I can do a lot more, I'm more productive. I can sleep better. I have more energy, things like that. That's when it's a real game changer for them, because it's those things that they're able to realize that, wow, I can do these things better and I can actually live healthier and feel better overall.
So the way things are right now, where do you see chiropractic heading in the next 20 years?
That's a great question. I really do. I know that being in Canada, I've seen clinics that are very multidisciplinary. In the States, I don't see that as often. So I think that's where the profession is headed as well, is where we have all of these providers under one roof, which would be amazing because now we're actually working all together. And that's probably the best thing that you can do for a patient is a bunch of different treatments at once instead of just one type of treatment. I also see us being the first contact for people with neck pain, back pain, headaches. That's something that would be really, really cool to achieve is, when someone has a neck pain or back pain, the first person they think about is, let me go to my chiropractor before I go to my MD or my primary doc. And also like increasing referrals. So being able to get MDs and docs to refer to chiropractors, orthopedic surgeons, rheumatologists, things like that. So I think that the referral system can be a lot better and getting us out there and us being the first line of contact before people go through surgery or medication and things like that.
I think that's really important to talk about. A lot of people just don't know. I mean, something I've coined in the marketing world is most people don't take care of themselves because they simply don't know where to go or who to trust. Mm-hmm. And what happens is they get pushed down an agenda where chiropractic isn't even top of mind to these people. It's not top of mind to the person in need. It's not top of mind to the person that has like the control of the opportunity to serve and help. They look at it as like, hey, you're here, we walk this way now. It's not like, hey, we could co-manage this with the right, the right professional that can really sort you out and help you out and give you some guidance. And, maybe you're thinking about like cleaning up your diet. Yeah, go see the chiropractor. Maybe you're thinking about, doing some rehab for your spine. Go see the chiropractor. Maybe you're not even injured, but we've done some occupational testing on you. We realize that you have like a foot flare, or you realize that you have like a drop foot or something going on with your gait. Go see the chiropractor. Yeah, I think that the referral idea could really revolutionize the way that chiropractic is practiced in the future, but it could also really revolutionize the way that the medical model starts appreciating each other as caregivers. And I think that that's a part that we really need to discuss is why can't we get the caregivers to start being a little bit more copacetic with co-managing and making sure that people are getting appropriate care, not just what the ABCs are of what the diagnosis is and the way to treat with their skill sets. I think there's a lot to say in that. And
definitely.
I definitely think that the reason I'll just give my 2 cents on why it hasn't happened is because the big industry realizes that there's no money in health. There's only money in sickness and disease. And if they were to start referring people out to proper chiropractors that could help minimize this pain and suffering, then the people that have stock and interest in big medicine, they don't get money. So it's really hard for them to speak out of both sides of their face to help the chiropractic profession when they know, their innate knows that chiropractic can save people from sickness and suffering.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more. And I think it goes both ways too, because if I have a patient who, has a really bad disc herniation and I feel like, we've tried everything that we could, the best course of action now is to refer you to your surgeon. And that's possible too. And I'm not saying to completely remove that, but I'm saying to know when the best plan of action is and at what stage that the patient is at so that they can be able to heal the best. Because what breaks my heart is that, someone who's young, who has a disc herniation and, they're sent to a surgeon or a doctor and they do an MRI and they see, yep, you have a disc herniation. Surgery is the best course of action, which we all know that, the natural course of a disc herniation, it does absorb itself and heal itself. So oftentimes too, like, as we age and with the world that we live in now and just our activity on a daily basis, we could have disc herniations and be completely asymptomatic.
70% of the time.
Right. So it's very hard for me to totally rely on an image when, for most of us, we know that we don't get much time with our MD or our primary doc. It's a quick exam. It's either, okay, this medication, or let's send you for imaging. And then that's when they do their course of action, when we don't really correlate, a really thorough history and physical exam with imaging and put the two together.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Imaging Services, Chirothin, Chiro Moguls, Mahalo Wellness, McCaffrey's Clinical Mentoring, Local Gold, Chiro Health USA, The Goodman Factor, Chiropractic Rocks, Winner's Edge, Accident Records, Chiro Tax Pro, Full Script, your online dispensary, and Digital Hustle. Let's hustle!
And chiropractic's famous for showing their work.
Yeah.
Like if you go in and get an exam, you're going to get some orthopedic testing. When you go in and get an exam, you're going to get some balance testing. When you go in, you're going to get some imagery. You're going to get some x-rays. You're going to get a nervous system scan. You're going to get this, and then we're going to present it to you and say, hey, this is what we found. This is how much concern there is. This is how we can help you. We want to get you better. What do you think? It's a proposal opportunity to get people into the program. But I think that the way that chiropractors do business is very matter of factual. Like, yeah, I have a problem. Can you please take a look at this? Oh yeah, we'll do that. But we're going to do it so thorough that when we present our report to you, you're going to be like, holy smokes, this makes sense. Why didn't somebody else tell me this?
Right. And I think most people are super thankful. I've gotten so many times where people have walked in and been like, I've been around the block, seen every doctor you can think of. And you're the first person that actually sits down and listens. You're the first person who it was so thorough and actually took the time to do the right and correct examinations to show me what my x-rays look like. There's so many times where people come in and they're like, what is that? What is that? Like, what, like, I didn't even know. No one ever showed me. No one ever presented that to me. I was just told I needed surgery or I needed medication. So people are super appreciative. There's not a doctor that you can go to that spends that time and actually sits down with you. We did an hour and a half consultation and examination. Like, that's unheard of. You can't go to an MD and spend an hour and a half with him. So that's super. That speaks volumes for sure.
Yeah, because a tenet of chiropractic is to give, love, and serve.
Mm-hmm.
And that has the recipe right there for what you just said, but it's based on time.
For sure.
I think that because of the professional stance that chiropractors are in and their ability to do exams and diagnose and to provide care, that when you get time with somebody that has that credentialing of a professional that has gone to school the same amount of time and had more credit hours than like you call them, primary care providers.
Yeah.
Most people know them as medical doctors, but when people go into that track and become a chiropractor, you're getting opportunity to work with some of the most creative minds out there that are in the healing space.
Mm-hmm.
And these people really want to see the best outcome for all of their patients. And that's the real beautiful thing about the profession of chiropractic and why I fell in love with it, because I saw truth in it. And when you see truth in something, you can't deny it. And that's the beautiful thing about giving time with passion and care and love and service to your community, because then you do become a beacon of light for hope to people that when they do finally find you, they're like, dude, I've tried it all. I've done this and this and this and this. And lo and behold, the chiropractor was down the street the whole time.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So I know we touched on this before the interview, but just for people at home, what are some of your favorite marketing tactics? What are some apps that you're using to get seen by your audience?
Yeah, that's a great question. This is like a huge passion of mine. And this is what actually helped me immerse myself into a community that I didn't know anybody. So first marketing strategy that I can think of that has helped me the most is honing in on my target audience and my customers. You could have the best product, the best service in the whole wild world, but if you're not marketing it to the right people, then ultimately your marketing strategy could fail. So that's a really, really great thing that I've been able to utilize through Instagram is really find my target audience. First of all, figure out who my target audience is and who I want to serve, and then going out and finding them on a platform like Instagram, Facebook, whatever it may be for you. So that's one of my top marketing strategies that I couldn't live without for sure. And then for apps, so I use multiple apps. Definitely Instagram is one of my favorite apps out there for engaging, building a community that you wouldn't have been able to build otherwise, connecting with colleagues, chiropractors, students that are up and coming, and just being able to educate people on what I do and how I can serve them best. Another app that I use is called Mojo. This is one of the apps that I use to create my quotes on my page, which is super awesome. And then another great app is Canva. And Canva I use a lot for, you can use it for anything really, but I use it a lot to make graphics on my page, to share different myths and facts about chiropractic, and just really at the end of the day, just educate people. So those are my top 3 apps for sure.
That's good stuff. I like the inclusion to teach people that, like I was saying off camera, is that 5 years ago, I was telling people if they didn't start getting on Instagram and start to dominate that niche, then people are going to come out of school within 2 years and they're going to start dominating that niche, which is really interesting as to what we've seen, the trend and how it's, worked well for you to be able to get into that niche and to be able to leverage what everyone has access to. Back in the day, chiropractors were like saying, hey, we need to even the playing field. We need to, get the same status as those people over there. Well, the playing field's pretty level right now. And everybody has barrier of entry into this technology right now. Mm-hmm. And it's all about how you produce. Do you want to draw people to you? And that's the cool thing you told me is like the way that you market and the way that you've branded on Instagram, people reach out to you. Mm-hmm. Talk about that a little bit. What's that feel like?
Yeah, it's, for anyone who can relate, especially as a female doctor, I had no idea what I was doing. I started this Instagram page when I moved here to Texas about 2 years ago, not being able to work for the first year. So I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to build a professional page, and just educate people on what I do and how I can help them. So I contemplated whether I would start building a page from scratch, from 0 followers, or converting my personal page into my doctor page. So I told myself, you know what, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it from scratch. I'm going to see what I can do. So I started from 0 followers and just started building. And it's been probably the best thing in my career so far, if I can even say that, because it's allowed me to reach people that I would have never been able to reach. It's allowed me to make connections and network with people that I would have never been able to network with, just like Chiro Hustle. So it's presented so many great opportunities. It's allowed me to really organically find patients, and patients who want to get help. And it's because a lot of the times I notice that chiropractors struggle in the sense that they feel like they have to kind of convince people of what the profession is, how it can help them, when all of that is done on my platform already. You see all the information. I educate you as much as I can. And at that point, your follower or your potential client customers are already well educated. They know what they're getting themselves into, and for them to reach out to you is huge. So that's been an amazing, amazing opportunity to be able to actually serve people that want to be served and serve people who I feel like I can serve best. So that's been amazing.
That's super cool.
What are some Instagram tips you could give to some other doctors who might be struggling on Instagram?
Yeah. So first tip I would say is your Instagram profile picture and your Instagram bio is like your resume. So people come to your page, you literally have 5 to 7 seconds to convince them that they should follow you. So you really want to make sure that your profile picture is of you and is bright and, looks inviting, basically. You also want to make sure, another tip, and I actually share some Instagram tips on my Instagram as well. There's something called your Instagram headline, and that's actually the first bolded line on your Instagram bio. Most people don't know that this is what is searchable on Instagram. So if you just have your name, most people don't know your name if they're searching for, general chiropractic adjustments, things like that. So if you just have your name, then you're actually not searchable at all. if you go in and put what you're about, like you're a chiropractor, you're a physiotherapist, you're an MD, whatever the case is, then now when someone searches in chiropractic, you're actually the first page on the explore, on the search that comes up. So you're more exposable, you're more searchable, and that just helps you be easy to access, basically. Another thing is hashtags. A lot of people sleep on hashtags. They don't feel like they work. They don't know how many to put, things like that. But hashtags can be super effective. Like, it's unbelievable what I've been able to do with hashtags. I'm able to actually target my audience through hashtags. I'm able to go and visit my potential patient or client through a hashtag. So that's something that's really, really cool. I can get into a lot about tips and tricks about Instagram because I just have a huge passion for it. But yeah, definitely hashtags is something that you should look into for sure.
So that's great information. I think everybody out there that wants to make an impact on Instagram, they should get out there. I made notes. I think everybody that wants to make an impact on Instagram should listen to that one segment and just really apply that stuff, because it's like the same way that realtor would work. Like, they want to have curb appeal. Well, now we have to really pay attention to our digital curb appeal.
Right.
And nobody would dare buy the house that didn't have good pictures. And no one would dare do business almost at this point in the game with somebody that doesn't have good imagery.
Yeah.
And, they always say that a picture says 1,000 words. Well, a picture with good description says a whole lot more than that.
Yes, I agree.
I know we didn't script this out, but are you the first doctor in your family?
I am not, actually. I'm the first chiropractor,
Okay.
but I actually come from a family with many dentists.
Okay.
So a few of my uncles are dentists. My older sister is a dentist. Our cousins are dentists. So it's just a lot of dentists in the family. So I knew I needed to be different. I love dental hygiene. I love everything about it, but I couldn't picture myself being in people's mouths like that. I wanted something a little bit less personal, if you will.
Yeah, I think it's cool, but we're always interested to know, like, kind of like the status of the person we're interviewing. A lot of times we have a deep understanding of people, but it's cool to hear that you're the first chiropractor in the family. How was that received to the dentists?
It was interesting. It was. My father is a huge advocate of chiropractic, so he was very excited. They, surprisingly enough, my uncles are very for it. They love it. They think that it's, especially being a dentist, that it's the one thing that helps them the best with their pain and their posture and things like that. So they're super on board with it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So do you also use Instagram to stay connected to your practice members, or do you have a different app that you like to use for that?
No, I actually use Instagram to really stay in touch and to engage with them. Most people don't really utilize their direct messaging properly, but this is a great opportunity to really connect and to really stay in touch and build a community through your direct messaging. So I use the direct messaging to do that. Just being present on their page, liking, commenting, things like that, just showing them that you're there and you're supporting them, and it's just a great tool to have.
So let's talk about you personally a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you in the middle of any good books? What podcasts do you like? What are some of your hobbies?
Yeah, so I actually just started reading this book called The E-Myth, and it's all about small businesses. I don't know if you've ever read it. It's by Michael Gerber.
They actually have an E-Myth for chiropractic.
Yes, I've heard of that. So I'm reading the one that's, I guess, more general small business myths about small businesses. So I literally am in the first 20 pages, but it's already really, really good. Podcasts, I do listen back when we were actually driving to work, I would listen to podcasts on my way to work. People who I listened to were the evidence-based chiropractor. His name is Dr. Jeff Langmaid. Really great stuff. I also listen to Heal Thyself, which I love a lot. This is more like holistic type conversations. The Thriving Chiropractor, who is someone that portrays more practice growth and financial freedom, which I love a lot. And then I also listen to like social media stuff. So there's a podcast called Social Media Marketing by Michael Stelzner. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And then also another female chiropractor who's doing amazing things. She has a podcast called She Slays, and that's Dr. Lauren Brunswick. So I love all of those podcasts. I listen to those on repeat, really. That's
cool. Well, let's add Chiro Hustle into the circulation.
Definitely.
So what are your hobbies? What do you like to do when you're not adjusting and getting new patients from Instagram?
Yeah. So my husband and I are very active. We love to work out. So that's something that we have a huge passion for, fitness and health. And then honestly, when I'm not working, I love just creating content. So just figuring out what I can post and how I can share knowledge on different types of things, and just really creating. So that's another passion and hobby of mine.
So what are some websites, social media links you can give people if they wanted to follow you or find out more about you?
Yeah, so I actually have a blog called The Chiropractic Guru. I also have, of course, my Instagram page. You can follow me at The Chiropractic Guru. And I believe that's it. Those are the two main ones that I'm on and active on.
So at this juncture in the interview, is there anything that we didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, I think we covered a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that pretty much wraps up today's episode then. Dr. Rebecca, thank you so much for taking time to be with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we had an enjoyable conversation with you, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Likewise. I appreciate it.
All right. Have a good day now.
You too. Thank you.
All right,
See you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.